In November 2023, a group of young leaders gathered in Naivasha, Kenya, to explore how to use foresight and systems thinking to help transform food systems. They came from 13 countries across Africa and were joined by colleagues from Jordan, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Transforming food systems to meet the needs of the future is no simple task. It requires an understanding of the whole system and a long-term perspective. Stakeholders from across the food system must be brought together to create a shared commitment to change.
Remember that stakeholder engagement is key. You yourselves told us that this morning, that communication, engagement, working together, collaboration is key to the foresight process. Foresight is actually looking at systems thinking, right? Which ends up being very, very broad, with the understanding that there aren't any quick fixes or neat solutions to something that is systemic. And then foresight helps you to think about different futures that are informed by current data.
The workshop was guided by a foresight framework for food systems change, developed by Foresight for Food. The framework is based on linking stakeholder engagement processes with a strong scientific evidence base to foster informed dialogue and follows 7 key steps. During the workshop, participants learned the foundations of foresight and scenario analysis. They gained hands-on experience in using different foresight tools to facilitate stakeholder dialogue and decision-making. To ground the learning, the horticulture sector in Kenya was used as a case study, prompting participants to explore challenges facing food systems in Africa and beyond. On day 1, participants examined a wide range of data and used the powerful, rich picturing tool to develop a shared understanding of the whole system.
In Rwanda, the government is mobilizing with other stakeholders to promote smartphones for small farmers.
We need a participative approach to do that and to include the right people while doing the analysis, because when we don't have the right stakeholders at the right place, we can't have the right analysis.
Day 2 saw participants in the field, listening to the perspectives of different stakeholders and sharing their own experiences and challenges of leading transformative change.
Even as the young people here would like to know how you work, can join you maybe later, get some knowledge from you also.
It's more of an engagement with the stakeholders within the food system. So that's what I would call it.
Key trends and critical uncertainties for the horticulture sector were identified on day 3. This analysis provided the basis for developing a set of scenarios for how the sector might evolve over the coming decades.
We've got a market opportunity has developed, but it's been captured by those with money.
Right, so we used a foresight tool called scenario mapping. It's a new tool, I've never used it before, so I learned about it today. It's essentially about thinking about the future and the different outcomes that you could have.
Basically, you take the different trends and uncertainties that are in the system and you map it out, the important ones, and you see where we are at the moment and where you want to go. And it's a good way to find out how to get there or where you actually want to be.
Different members of the team, according to their backgrounds and their understanding, will come up with different points that maybe from your individual angle and experience you would not see. Having the group together, thinking together and discussing throughout enriches this to a great extent.
To explore the implications of the scenarios, participants imagined themselves as different groups of stakeholders leading to a highly animated debate about what scenario might work for a particular interest group.
Everyone was aware of a healthy diet, and all stakeholders were, of course, in this collaboration.
Day 4 took a deep dive into the processes of systems change. Shared visions and areas for action were generated. Causal loop diagrams helped unpack leverage points for transforming the horticulture sector.
More processing capacity, the less quality. So that's the minus that you see there.
By now I realize that there's many information that we miss when we are doing only with quantitative stuff, especially when you are using data that you have not collected yourself.
Until today, I could really just analyze my role in the system, right? Like as a seed producer, what do I need to do? But now today, I really have to understand how do I integrate what I do with all the other players, and what is the positive and the negative impact of that, so that now that informs the direction in which I can take.
Key directions for change in the horticulture sector included promoting healthier consumption patterns, opening opportunities for SMEs and smallholder farmers, ensuring competitiveness in the global market, and producing in an environmentally sustainable way. On the last day, participants supported each other to develop plans for applying foresight in their own work.
So I'm suggesting and proposing to her.
Ideas for continued support and networking were proposed.
Systems are complex. I mean, it's like this massive, massive ship that requires so much in order to move. And even if there's a lot that is required to move it, that we shouldn't be discouraged about the fact that it takes so much to do that. If something is going to change, something as wide and as broad as systems, it needs a heck of a lot of collaboration.
Personally, working on introducing foresight into the climate resilience journey that we've started, and we formed a coalition of climate smart agriculture stakeholders. But as the Rwanda team, we are planning to collaborate, to work together as people who have been trained on foresight.
Moving on from here, it is just action. What do I want to put in place? I'm going to be using Rich Picture, for example, in communities, because I work with rural communities, and then saying, how can you as an indigenous person or someone who is even not literate just really describe what your context is, and for visioning, what do you want to see, what do you want to do differently and all, and just really democratizing that. So that's a lot of action. I need to sit back and do a lot of thinking about how to put all of this in place.
I am going back to the university. So presently we are going into a new session, so I'm going to have new both undergraduate and postgraduate students. So I want to use it as an analytical tool in their project.
First of all, it's really to build what you call futures literacy, because we know that literacy is important. People read and write, and we have said, now nobody even argues about that. Same way, having ICT skills, nobody argues about that, because that's the world that we live in. But also we are going to a world where it is complex, things change quickly, and so on, and therefore you'd start needing new kinds of skills.
These young leaders left inspired to facilitate foresight processes in their own countries and open up deeper discussions about how to transform food systems in Africa and beyond.